observing where you're at as we start. And then just let your hands drop onto your rib cage. So your fingers are sort of a little bit more at the top, and your thumbs are along your sides, maybe moving up a bit towards your armpits. And we're just going to very slowly and gently widen as we inhale. So there's this broadening sideways on the inhale. Breathing through your nose to get the diaphragm moving. And then as you exhale, feel how the rib cage narrows, the tummy softens, perhaps your back feels a little bit more in contact with the floor. And then as you inhale again, just very slowly starting to feel the widening. So it's a gradual expansion. And then as you exhale, feeling everything softening down. So just starting with feeling a slightly deeper, slower breath rhythm. And with the inhale, just noticing that it isn't just the front that moves, it's the side ribs, it's the back ribs, which perhaps are harder to feel, but just have that sense of a bit more contact of your upper back with the mat as you inhale. And exhaling there. Okay, and then just have your arms down by your sides, press through your feet, flatten your lower back into the mat, and just start to roll your hips up off the floor, rolling through your spine up to your shoulders. And then you can time it with the exhale to roll down, and just feel like you're sticking your back down vertebrae by vertebrae. So the ribs need to curl in a bit. You're squeezing your bum a bit, kind of tucking it under to control your spine coming back down. Let the lower back arch reappear, flatten your lower back into the mat again, and you could inhale to roll your way up. You don't need to have the breath rhythm, it's just whether you want to add that in. As you exhale, peeling your way back down. So full spinal articulation. So let's just do one more like that. Really taking your time on the last one, going a little bit slower and feeling it almost vertebrae by vertebrae lifting up and then pressing back down. And resting back to the mat. Okay, from there let's lift up the right leg and interlace your fingers behind your right knee. You don't need to have the leg dead straight, you're just lifting it up, looking at your foot, so get where you can see your right foot and just slowly circling your ankle, spreading your toes when you pull the toes towards you. See if you can keep the leg still, the shin still, you're just moving your ankle. And remember, there's the 4 points we're trying to really get as far into as we can. So flexing the foot, pulling your toes towards you, pointing like a ballet dancer, toes away. And then there's eversion and inversion of your foot when you're turning it from one side and then to the other side. So rather than just a quick kind of perfunctory circle, it's really trying to find as much range of motion in the ankle joint as we can, to the point where your shin and calf feel a bit of muscle tiredness there. Have you changed direction? I should have said. So go both directions if you haven't already. And then from there, just bring your right ankle down on top of your left knee. Hold your right thigh with your right hand and start to move that right leg forwards and backwards. So at one point your knee points towards your nose, and then you're pushing your thigh away from you as much as you can. You can see how it feels to really flex that top right foot, and does that make any difference to what you feel in your leg? So just moving and noticing the right hip joint, basically, that's what we're kind of feeling for. And then the next bit is an option. You could go up on your tiptoes, move the knee forwards and backwards. Does that change any sensation in the right hip? And then you could even take your hands behind your left thigh and hold behind your left thigh and just slightly rock side to side pushing your right knee away from you. Now holding the back of your left thigh might not feel possible. In that case, you just stay on your tiptoes and keep moving your thigh forwards and backwards, and you should be already feeling plenty in your outer right hip. And this is not so much to kind of stretch and stretch, it's more to feel, like getting to know your own hips, how they feel in different positions, where kind of contracting muscles and holding feels really manageable and where it feels quite challenging. Okay, if you had your left foot lifted up, bring it back down to the mat and reach your arms out to the sides. Start to tip your body over to the left a little. So you'll feel your right hip lifts away from your right back of the pelvis lifts off the mat. See how far over feels comfortable. You might even plant the whole of your right foot down onto the mat. Your left thigh might touch down onto the mat. You're kind of lying in a slight rotation. And then bring your legs back up to center. Roll over towards the right, and same thing. You might just go a little bit. You might go to the point where your right thigh is touching the floor. Come back up to center again. Make your way over to the left. See how far over feels enough. And you're paying attention to the back of your pelvis, in particular the back of the lower back. So you don't want any pulling, really. Just see if you could make it more of just a whole body rotation. So just do a couple more side to side, seeing how that feels. Do the other side, holding behind your left leg, reaching up and circling your ankle again. Notice if you have quite clicky ankles, just notice how it feels to move the bones a bit. Keeping the leg relatively still. Feeling the eversion and the inversion of your foot, like how much does it turn? And then bring that left ankle on top of the right knee. Hold your left leg with your left hand and just move it forwards and backwards. So you'll feel your pelvis swings a bit, the thigh bones moving around in the joint. We're just kind of gently bringing our attention to the hips and what we can feel. You can go up on your tiptoe on the right foot. Does that change anything? You could hold behind the right thigh, interlacing your fingers, pushing the left knee away from you and back again. So keep the movement going whichever position you're in. Maybe rocking side to side as an alternative. So just feeling the hips in different ways. You don't have to lift that right foot off the mat, you can just be tiptoes. Okay, and then we're going to reach the arms out to the sides again and start to lean over towards the right with your pelvis and see how far you want to go. It might just be a little rock forwards and backwards. Just find the range that feels about right for you today. It might be planting the left foot all the way down onto the mat and the bottom right and the right leg touching as well, and then pulling yourself back up and going over to the left. Letting the left leg touch down, maybe. And then just going backwards and forwards. So we're just rotating through the torso. Can you notice if you're using your arms to help you come back to center? Do they press down? Do you notice muscles in the front body helping you? Nothing wrong with that at all, it's just seeing whether you notice. And then coming back to center and just roll onto your left side. I hope you can see me okay. And doing the sort of Greek goddess position, just lying on your side with your arm on under your head, and have your knees bent. And then make a little bit of a space under your waist, so you're not pressing your waist down to the mat. Think of the feeling your top hip and pulling it down towards the end of your mat, and you'll feel your waist lifts off the floor a bit. So we want that. We want to always have a bit of space at the waist there so that you could slip your hand under your waist, okay? And we're just going to bring some more attention around the hips. So this time it's the top right hip. So to start with, just lift that top leg up away from the bottom leg, and just see if you can keep your foot and your knee at roughly the same height, and you're just lifting your leg up and down a few times. Try not to let the lower waist change position at all. So you will feel some toning in your torso as you just lift that leg up and down. And I don't know about you, but the first few you lift up, you're not really feeling much at all. By about 5 or 6, you might start to become more aware of the muscles on the outside of your right hip and thigh. And then keep that leg up for the next one. So you're keeping that right leg lifted up away from the left leg. And then see how it feels to pull your right heel forward. Can you tap your right heel down onto your bottom left knee that's on the floor? How close can you get? If possible, you're going to tap your heel onto that knee, right onto the edge of the knee, and then lift the right leg up again. Start to lift your foot towards the ceiling and drop your right knee down. Can you tap your knees together while you lift your right foot up towards the ceiling as much as you can? So that's internal rotation in the thigh bone, in the socket. Lift the right leg up again. Start to pull your heel towards your knee. How close can you get? You're trying to lift your right knee towards the ceiling as you do that. So there's the movement. The contact of the waist with the floor does not change, so you're not moving your body around much. You're just moving your leg. If it starts to feel too intense, you take a breather. Otherwise, we're going to do 3 more. And what are you? Try and make it slow, and make sure the lowering down is as slow as the lifting up, because there's loads of good muscle work that happens as you lower down. So we're lying on the right side. The waist is slightly lifted away from the mat. Lifting the top leg slowly up and down, trying to keep the foot as high as the knee. And you want to kind of feel this sense of you're keeping the lengthening of the top waist. So the pelvis is not moving so much, it's all in the leg. Okay, so you need to do enough of these till you start to really feel aware of your outer hip. You may already be there, and then we start the knee heel tapping. So start by pulling your heel towards the knee and tapping that right heel onto the left knee. Can you pull your left knee up to the ceiling at the same time? And then swapping over knee to knee. Lifting that top foot up as high as you can, that's a part of it. And swapping back and forth. So we're moving the hip, the ball and socket of your hip, internal rotation, external rotation. Notice how much pressing the bottom leg into the mat helps to stabilise you. And stay aware of what your lower waist is doing. You need that little gap. And this is just one of loads of different versions of kind of getting all the muscles that support the hip joint to work. You know, there's loads of different muscles there. Being comfortable in your hips and not having hip discomfort, you really want all those muscles working in lots of different ways. Okay, well done. And then roll yourself over. Let's come up onto our knees and just give your shoulders a roll a few times. So shoulder blade circles, so you're imagining yourself as that tree trunk that doesn't move, is really solid, using lots of tone in your front body. Roll your shoulder blades and shoulders forward. Squeeze them up to your ears. Squeeze your shoulder blades together on your back without letting your chest pop forward. And then, can you feel a downwards movement? Do your shoulder blades go from up to down? And then repeat, forwards, up, squeezing back, that's the bit most of us need. And then the pulling down is the bit most of us need. So this kind of helps to undo what I term the daily slump in the upper back. Yeah, just getting all those upper back muscles supporting us as we move in the day. Okay, and then take your right hand up to your right shoulder. I'm just mirroring you here as I'm facing you. Left hand can hold your waist, and then take the elbow all the way across to the right side. You can kind of drop your head and look down a bit as well. As you inhale, lift your elbow up and take the arm behind you to the left. Watch it drop down towards your left foot behind you. and then rotate all the way over to the right again and repeat. So you're inhaling to go up, exhaling to go down. It's like you're drawing this strange kind of sideways on circle. Just doing a few of those. Just feel how you're moving your arm bone in the socket, so it's a shoulder kind of warm up of the joint, we're oiling that joint, but also your torso's rotating. So your spine is doing a bit of lengthening and rounding, just getting everything warming up and moving well. Let's do the other side. So reaching your left elbow across, inhale, up and round. And as you reach your elbow up to the ceiling, just noticing again those ribs that you were breathing into as we were lying down, just feeling how we kind of get more space in all the intercostal muscles along the ribs. Just get everything moving there as you inhale, reach up, and arm round. Well done. Okay, and then from there just come down onto all fours, spreading your fingers, and we're just going to do a few rounds of cat-cow. So we're going to start at the pelvis, so it's not a head and bum moving at the same time cat-cow. This is going to be a spinal articulation. So starting right at the pelvis, lift your belly button up, feel your pelvis tipping backwards, the hip bones are lifting up, and then start to round through your lower back, your mid-back, bit by bit into your upper back, and then the last thing is that head dropping right down so the neck spine is down. Lift your sit bones up, keep your head down, so you're just starting from the base. Let your belly button drop to the mat, squeeze along your spine, rib cage drops down, and then can you lengthen the upper spine through your arms and look forward. Just doing one more like that, curling up at the pelvis first, slow rounding all the way up. Your head come down, and then lifting the sit bones, curling all the way back through. Okay, and then from there, just come on up, back up onto your knees. We're going to go into a lunge position, so do have a blanket for the back, for your knees if you need. And step your right leg forward. Reach out through your arms and take them to either the back of your head or onto your shoulders. If this arm up position doesn't feel good for your shoulders, just put hands on shoulders. And then from there, just start to let your chin drop to your chest, your elbows drop in, and a bit like one of those metal slinky toy things, you just start to roll down, your elbows dropping down. So feel that through your spine. You'll need to stabilise through your legs for balance, and see if your elbows can move towards your right thigh. They might touch down towards the knee, they might just be moving towards. And then as you inhale, lift yourself back up, the elbows can widen. Push your head and your hands together so that you feel this sense that you're lengthening it up through your sternum and through your upper spine. Exhaling, chin to chest again, arms, elbows drop down, curl your way all the way down. Inhaling to come all the way back up. And using the hands and head pressing to find length. Let's do one more like that. Curling down. Inhaling your way back up. And then from there, let your right elbow go heavy and start to drop it sideways down. So you're staying sideways on, the ribs stay kind of in, and let your left elbow reach up to the ceiling. You can squeeze your glutes there, and take a breath all along your left side, from your waist into your ribs. If you inhale, can you feel that rib cage area we've been breathing into? Just feel like it's expanding, a bit like you've got gills and you're breathing into them. And then lift yourself back up again. Feel how you find that toning in the sides to come up. And then we're going to tip to the other side. So your left elbow goes heavy, the right reaches up. And then the same thing, just finding some breath into the rib cage at the top there. All the way up into your armpit even. And then control, using the firming of your legs, your core to come up. From there, we're going to rotate to the right, so turning the ribs, elbows reaching wide. Inhale to come back to center, and then exhaling to the left. Pushing your left knee slightly out to the left as you rotate, and then from here, we're just going to reach the arms wide, so stretch your arms out, and then flick your right foot off the, your left, I said the wrong thing, your left foot behind you. So you're going to end up facing the side edge of your mat, the the left long side of your mat, and your right leg is out to the side. So you're sideways arms. This may make it difficult to see me. Just adjust any way you need to be. You're just in a kneel with your right leg out to the side and your arms outstretched. Have we got there? The joys of screens. Okay, and then from there we're just going to tip down to the right. So your right arm's going to be on the inside of your right leg and the left arm is reaching up. You could bend a bit more into your right leg if you like, and then come all the way back up. Just do that one more time, just feeling yourself tip to the side until your right arm makes contact with the right leg. It could be wrist to knee, it could be forearm to knee. And then make your way back up. And then we'll add on to that a little bit. So coming down to the side, right arm and leg make contact, left arm is reaching up. A couple of things here. Notice your rib cage. Is it kind of popping forward? See how it feels to squeeze your glutes and think of a more neutral spine. So you might be drawing your ribs down a bit. Then start to push your right arm and leg into each other and rotate to the left a bit more. So those right ribs are kind of drawing forward. Shoulders are pulling down away from the ears. And then can you breathe again right through your rib cage, front, back and sides. Make space. Are you feeling your right hip at all? Okay, then take your left hand to your waist and look down at your right knee and arm. I've gone sideways on to show you. Now don't move your arm and see if you can pull your right leg away any amount from your right arm to make a gap between them and then bring them back together. You've got to keep your foot planted down, big toe planting down, pull your knee away from your arm and back together. Can you feel the outside of your right hip as you do that, as the kind of motor, the movement controller? So a few times, can you feel that squeeze in the outer hip? So Christine, come up higher. So have more your forearm on the outside of the knee. Much higher, much higher, much higher. Keep coming up. So it's just your forearm, and then you can focus on the hip a bit more. Okay, well done. And then come out of that. Back all the way up. Flick your left foot behind you again. Reach both arms up so you're facing the front of your mat, and then bring your fingertips down to the floor. You could tuck your back toe under and lift your back knee up and down a few times, just coming in and out of the lunge, breathing there. Okay. And then bringing your back knee to the mat, just straighten your front leg a bit, lifting your toes up away from the floor, and then plant the foot down again. So you're just kind of rocking backwards and forwards in the low lunge with your back knee on the floor. And feeling you're just on your heel as you lean back. You don't need to straighten the leg, but feel like you're digging your heel into the mat a bit as you pull back. Okay, then let's take the hands up to the waist, step that front leg back and take a little bit of a child's pose. Seeing where you can soften as you take a pause, maybe around your eyes or your jaw, maybe your shoulders. And then when you're ready, coming all the way back up onto your knees, and we'll step the right leg forward, the left leg forward. Okay, so with your left leg forward this time, take your hands either to the back of your head or hands to shoulders. So whichever position you're in, let your chin drop to your chest and just start to curl forwards. You're just letting your elbows drop forward. Feeling the back rounding. You're just rounding through the spine. And then inhaling, coming up, feeling the lengthening of the spine. And doing that a few times. Exhaling, feeling the rounding all the way into your neck, relaxed face and head. And then inhaling back up, feeling a lengthening up. And you can use that push of hand and head together to lengthen along your upper vertebrae. One more like that. Sideways tip. Letting the left elbow drop down, right elbow lift up. And then once you've tipped as far as feels enough for you, just hold it and breathe all along that right side. So you're just feeling the rib cage area, the waist lengthening. And then as you slowly come up, just noticing what kind of all firms to support you come up. And then tipping over to the other side. Staying sideways on. Holding it there for a breath. And then slowly lifting all the way back up. See how it feels to rotate to the left. Inhaling to come back to centre. And then exhaling, rotating to the right. Sorry, I said the wrong thing. So rotate back each way. We want to end up... sorry, no, I did get it right. Excuse me, I'm so full of hay fever today. I'm a bit foggy-headed. So turning to the right side this time. And then from there, reach your arms out to the side. Just holding that sideways position. And then you're going to flick your foot, the back foot, so that you can be sideways on. So the right foot flicks back and you end up with your left leg out to the side and your left leg is out to the side. Give me a wave if you're confused. You might not be able to see me. And then from there you just start to tip down to the side. So your left arm is going to go to the inside of your left leg. And then make your way back up again. Just doing that a few times. Just seeing if you can feel that kind of neutral position of your rib cage. They can want to pop forward here. And you want to keep some toning in the front body, not hinging into your back at all. On the next one, stay there. Push your left arm and leg into each other. Feel your upper body position, so the shoulders will be moving downwards, the ribs will be neutral, and can you rotate a little bit more to the side, so those left ribs are pulling forward. How does that feel? One more full, even breath there across a lovely open chest, breathing into lots of space in the rib cage. You can bend into your front knee a bit more if you like. You can, move backwards and forwards into that front knee, feeling the strength of your hip. And then take your back hand to your waist, look down at your front knee and arm. And you're pushing them together and then keeping your left arm exactly where it is, pull your right knee away from your arm and then squeeze it back in again. So you might want to do that a couple of times. See if you can create a gap between your arm and your leg. And can you feel how it's the outer left hip that's helping you create that movement? Is that a feeling that is very familiar, or do you perhaps not feel that area so much? Well done. And then let's make our way back up. Flick your right foot to the end of your mat again. Reach both your arms up, face forward. So you're in a low lunge, exhale, fingertips to the floor. Tuck your back foot under and you could lift your back knee up and down a few times. Or you can keep your back knee on the floor and just already start rocking backwards and forwards, up to you. Okay, and then keeping your back knee down on the mat, just start to slowly straighten your front leg any amount. You could slide your hands a bit towards you if you like, and lift your front toes off the mat, so it's just your heel on the mat. And then go forward again, knee over ankle, foot plants down. So you're just going back and forth rocking back and forth with your left leg straightening to some degree. So again, it's just kind of oiling and moving your hip joints in all the different ranges it can move in, so it will feel like you have lots of range of motion. Okay, and then let's come back up, step that leg back, take another little child's pose or any other breather pose that you like. Again, using your breath to find softening. See how that happens. And then making your way back up to sitting. Okay, and then we're just going to do a little flow sequence that we did the other day. So we're going to start on all fours with your toes tucked under. So the heels are lifted, the toes are tucked under. And as you inhale, come into the extended bit of cat pose again, where you're looking forward and your sit bones are lifted. You feel this sense of lengthening through the upper spine. And then as you exhale, pull your hips back towards your heels as much as they'll go. So you're pulling back. And then as you inhale, push your hands forward, lift your knees up off the mat. If that doesn't feel good for your wrists or anywhere else, you're just going to stay in the child's pose. But otherwise you're lifting your knees up into a bent knee down dog. And then as you exhale, option to pull your shoulders forward, more over your wrists. Feel all the tone in your tummy. Push the mat away with your hands. Feel the shoulder girdle firm. You're slightly doming in your upper back between your shoulder blades, and then as slowly as you can, drop your knees to the mat. And then as you inhale, lift the sit bones and lift the head, lengthen through your upper spine. Exhale, pull the hips back towards the heels. As you inhale, option to flatten the feet, stay in child's pose, or lift your knees up towards a bent knee down dog. As you exhale, shoulders go further forward, either from child's pose to all fours, or you're ending up forward with the knees hovering off the mat, rounding through your shoulder blades, and then slowly lowering down. Okay, so that's the movement. So you can modify it to either be a down dog on the third breath, and then a knee hover to come forward, or it's going to be pulling back towards a child's pose, flicking your feet under, lengthening along your sides, breathing there, so it's a lengthening position. And then the final breath is coming back up to a tabletop, okay? So see if you can work something out there. It doesn't need to be perfect. I'm going to talk you through the first version once, and then the second, the child's pose version once, and just keep going. We're going to end up doing about 3 or 4 together, okay? So first bit is all the same. Inhale, extending, sit bones lifting, pulling the upper back through your arms. Exhale, pulling the hips back is the same. Inhaling, either child's pose or you're lifting your knees up for down dog, rolling your arms out. Exhaling forward, hovering your knees off the floor, shoulders over wrists, slow controlled descent of the knees. Inhaling, extending the spine. Exhaling, pulling back. Inhaling, if you're doing child's pose, pull the hips back, reach the arms forward. Exhaling, coming back up to a tabletop. So keep going, see if you can do a couple more of those. Elaine, you could lift your sit bones more in your down dog, just saying. So bend your knees more in your down dog and pull back more. Lift the hips up and pull them back, pull them back. Yes, there you go, there you go. Then from there, see if you can lower your knees closer to the mat as you pull your shoulders forward. So you're feeling lots of core. Okay, well done. Are you feeling a rhythm and a sense of connection through the movements? Okay, and then next time you get to all fours, take a breather. Okay, did that feel like a kind of flowy movement? Give me a thumbs up if it did. Yeah, it's a really nice thing just to do in the morning, just gets energy going through your body. You're getting, you know, quite a range of positions there. Okay, so now we're going to do the movement we needed the props for. And see how that goes. So you want something for, you're going to come into a little squat position. Let me know, give me a wave. I'm going to come and look at you to see if this is not viable, but most of you I know it is. And try and ground your heels. So you could put a cushion under your heels. If you've got a books, that's great. If you've got a yoga block, that would do. And then if you've got something you can put in front of you, either a blanket or a cushion, that would also be good. So I'm going to use books and a blanket. So this is our rolling from a squat to kneel thing we do that is so fantastic for all the lower body and the hips. So it's again moving the hips in a slightly different way this time. So you start in your little squat, your heels hopefully are grounded on something, whether that's a cushion or some books or whatever. And then bring your fingertips to the floor in front of you. So you might be leaning forward a bit. And then drop your knees down at the same time to the mat. So you end up in a kneeling position. Your hips can be up away from your heels, so make it work. And then you push down through your fingers and you roll yourself back to a squat. And try and have your heels grounded somewhere if you can. It's not terrible if they're not. And then you're rolling forward again, dropping your knees to the mat. If you can, you're keeping your bum on your heels. Rolling back to your squat, hands might pull towards you. Rolling back to knees down, heel on bum as much as possible. And just do a few more. Can you feel how you're hinging through your feet? Notice which bit of your body starts to talk to you as you roll from a squat into a little kneel. Okay, if you need a breather in this movement, we're going to add the next option. Quite a nice one is just to lift your hips up and come into a forward bend with bent knees. So that's something that will give your legs a rest when you need. Okay, the next stage of this is to be in your little squat, go more upright, reach your arms forward. So this is where it's nice to have your heels grounded. And then as slowly as you can, you're going to take your arms wide and at the same time lower your knees to the mat, trying to keep your bum on your heels. It may be a thud for the first couple, and you may notice the knees don't land at the same time, but we really want them to. Now you've got to get back to your squat, so your arms are going to come forward and your heels will plant down into the squat. So that's the movement. Arms go wide, drop your knees to the floor, try and keep your bum to your heels, and then arms go forward, roll back, heels to your support if you've got one. So see if you can do a few more. Notice where you're feeling things. Notice where it feels tricky. It might be getting the knees to land at the same time. Be strict with them. When you need a breather, pause and you might go into a forward bend. And this is one of those ones, I'm afraid, that is harder than it looks, isn't it? To actually control the movement. So I'll come and have a look at you. Okay, and if the arms off version is just hellish at the moment, you just stay with the hands to the mat version, dropping your knees down and pulling back again. That's getting all the parts used to this connection. It's toes, ankles, knees, hips, all connecting and flowing. Okay, I love that one. That one really shows up what's connecting and what isn't. Okay, slide your hands to your feet, come into your forward bend, off your props wherever you are. Bend your knees and just let your head hang down and nod. If being forward isn't so great for you, just come up with your hands on your knees for a moment and have a move around there. Otherwise, with your knees bent and your head completely relaxed down, just move it around a bit. Perhaps feeling the inhale expand your back ribs. This is a lovely place to feel that back rib expansion. Well done. Bending your knees and just rolling your way all the way up into standing. Reach your arms wide, stretch your arms up over your head. Let your palms come together and exhale the hands down the front of your body. Your feet are about hip width apart, so you just come into a little bit of a squat here. Let your hands drop down and touch the mat. As you inhale, take your arms wide, reach yourself all the way up again. Palms come together, exhale, lowering your hands, bending your knees, hinging at your hips till the hands touch the floor, inhaling all the way wide and up again. Just a couple more like that. So as you bend the knees and lean forward, just feel it's a real hinge at the hips rather than rounding your back. The back can feel flatter as the sit bones lift, just like in the down dog. Last one. And then staying up, standing, let your hands lower down. Turning sideways onto your mat and just take your legs wide. Okay, so we've been warming up lots of feelings around the hips today. So we're just going to do a last couple of standing poses before we wind down. So turning your right toes out down the mat, left heel can push away a little bit, and just start to bend and straighten your right knee. And just watch how the knee tracks over your foot. So we're just kind of guiding the knee more towards the baby toe side of the foot than the big toe side of the foot. Okay, and then keeping the knee bent on that right leg, let's slide the forearm down onto the thigh and take your your left hand round and hold your right rib cage and pull it sideways. So it's not really pulling, but it's just helping you feel that rib cage area on the right hand side, and you're just pulling yourself more sideways on, and then let that left hand slide away and reach all the way up. Firming the hips, see if you can find that outer hip area on both the hips, firm them, and keep guiding your right knee towards the baby toe side of your foot. So you're really feeling that external rotation. One more breath there. See how it feels to push through your front foot and float your right arm off your right leg for a second and back down again. Can you feel the muscles control your front hip movement? Well done. Bringing the arm back down, turn your top hand to face the top end of your mat, reach your arm up and over your head. Take a couple of breaths there into the left rib cage area again, front, back and sides. Making that space to breathe, and then reach your top arm all the way up. And we'll swap to the other side. Left toes turn out, right heel pushes away. You can let your arms rest and just bend and straighten your front leg a few times. Watching your knee track to the baby toe. Feeling around your hip. And then bending the knee over the ankle, slide your arm down. And we're going for that sideways on position again. So you can use your right arm to hold around your left ribs, just to kind of bring your awareness to this sideways turn. If you push your arm into your leg, like we did on our knees, this is a very similar position, it can help to push that knee back a bit, and you'll feel that engagement in your outer thigh. So do use your left forearm, and then when you're ready, reach your right arm up in the air again. Breathing there, squeezing in at the hips, those outer glute areas, and see if you can draw your left knee towards the left baby toe. Turn your top hand to face the top of your mat and reach up and over. Breathing all along your right side. So then the top arm's pulling you up, reaching your arms wide. Take your hands down to your waist. Take an inhale there. As you exhale, bend your knees and find that hip hinge again. Tipping at your waist till you feel a flat back as you come into your forward bend, all the way till your hands reach to the mat. Relax your head down. You could turn your toes out a bit and then just start to bend into one knee, slide your hands over to that foot and then over to the other side. turn your feet a bit more parallel again and take your hands over towards your right foot and start to slide your hands up your right leg. You could take your left elbow up over your head and then reach your right arm up and then drop the arms the other way. So now your right arm's going to frame your head. Start to lower yourself down towards your left leg and slide your hands back down to the floor. And then they can slide all the way over to the right side again. Slide your hands up your leg, frame your head with your left arm, take your right arm up, so it's like a little kind of cartwheel with the arms all the way down the left side. And then let's change direction, so go over to the left, slide your way up your left leg, reach up through your top elbow along the side there, and make your way over to the right and down. So you can do this really slowly, paying good attention to knee bend and how your lower back feels. Or if it feels really fine, you can just make it more of a kind of free flow movement. Just let yourself flop down on the way down. So it just depends how slowly you need to go to feel your back. And then ending up with your hands on your mat, let's turn to face the top of the mat to the lunge position. Let your back knee come down to the mat. And come on up, step your front leg back. And from there we're going to make our way back to lying down. Knees bent as you come to lying down, and just let yourself have, again, that feeling of contact of the back with the floor. Feeling your breath rate, the movement of your breathing. Let your arms reach out to the sides on your mat. And just lift your hips an inch or two off the floor. Push through your feet and kind of push up towards your head. See if you can get your shoulder blades rolling down towards your hips a bit. So you're lifting your hips up and then pushing towards your head with your feet. And that helps to roll the shoulder blades down the back and then bring your body back down to the mat. And you see how that's made your shoulders feel. Does that feel like a helpful little thing to do or not? You could lower your hands between your shoulders and your hips. As you exhale, you could notice how much your back ribs are in contact with the floor. How does it feel to really drop them down to the mat? So all of these things are kind of little suggestions to help you explore the rest position, just lying down on the floor. What feels the most grounded and relaxed kind of position for you? So you can see whether you want your hands a bit lower. How does that feel for your chest and shoulders? Or a bit higher? You could play with how much of the back ribs contact the floor. Whether to drop your chin or lift your chin a bit. And then whether you prefer your legs straight or you prefer the knees bent. Whether you like to take the feet wider and drop the knees together or keep them more parallel. So slowly bringing yourself to stillness in the outer body, rest position. Feeling the gentle rise and fall of your breathing as it slows down. And just staying for the last few minutes with your awareness of the movement the breath creates in your body. So you have this inner movement and rhythm to stay focused on, to keep you really present in your body so you don't kind of float off into dreaminess or thinking. So stay right here, just gently breathing, aware of the contact of your legs with the floor, the pelvis, the shoulders, the back of your head. So grounding down with each exhale and allowing the space for rest. Now just starting to find movement a little bit again, so maybe your fingers and toes, and however you like to gradually make your way back up to sitting, whether you want to hug your knees and rock for a bit or rest on your side. And making your way back to sitting upright, just keeping that quiet kind of internal focus just as we sit upright for a last few breaths. So you stay with that quality of quietening down and slowing down and feeling connected really to yourself, to your breath as you come back to sitting, so that we hold some of that as we transition to being more outward again and the mind busying around. So that transition can be a really useful moment to tap into. So you feel the different states, if you like, and then throughout your day when you need to kind of catch yourself, take a pause and relax your shoulders and relax your abdomen and find a breath, it feels like it's right there. You can remember to do that. So as you sitting upright, you're just feeling the breath rhythm, that gentle expansion that we did right at the beginning of class. And that softening down, softening your face and your shoulders as well. And then if you like to bring your palms together, you can do that, or keep them on your legs. Let's end today taking a breath together. So fully exhaling wherever you are. Let's take an inhale together. As you exhale, let your head lower. Just appreciating this time you've had today to just stop and put everything else on pause and find that little bit of inner quiet and presence. Looking after your body as well. And whenever you're ready, start to open your eyes and lift your head back up. Coming back into the room you're in, and thank you very much. Thank you for joining me today.